But we begin tonight with what will be the deciding factor in this year's elections, the one issue that is most likely to determine which party controls Congress next year. For all there is to love and hate and obsess about in politics, the determinative truth looming over any predictions about elections is that in the end, the economy basically determines what happens on election day. Bad economy, party in charge loses. Add that to the other truism of midterm elections, that the party in charge also loses in the first election for a new president, and the Democrats know they've got to swim hard upstream if they do not want this current to wash them away this year. They have got to try to mitigate the forces against them this year, and their only hope of doing that is by trying to turn the economy around, obviously, and simultaneously trying to embody and share some of the populist anger out there about the economy, to turn it against the other guys so that anger doesn't all get directed at them.
They want to take Congress back and return to the days where lobbyists wrote the laws. It is the most insidious power grab since the monopolies of the Gilded Age. They want to keep the public in the dark. They want to serve the special interests that served them so well over the last 19 months. We will not let them. We are not about to allow a corporate takeover of our democracy.
A corporate takeover of our democracy. President Obama's message at a fundraiser last night for Senate candidate Richard Blumenthal in Connecticut. Echoes of that also when I talked with Vice President Biden earlier this week.
I'm ready for this fight. I say, look, the choice is clear. I want Republican so-and-so, Congressman so-and-so, explain to the people in his district who lost their job through no fault of their own, because of the financial chicanery of Wall Street, because of this Ponzi scheme they had masquerading as a policy. Tell them why they should not get unemployment insurance. I want this fight. I want this fight.
The president and the vice president on message for the election now, on the economy, conveying the message that they are with the American people, that they share in the justifiable anger over the economy, and that they are the ones trying hardest to fix it right now against the other side who wants the opposite. That is the Democrats' campaign message. Then today, the Obama administration took the biggest step it could take toward making that campaign message both seem true and be true. Today, the president named Elizabeth Warren as a special advisor to set up the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Here's why Elizabeth Warren's appointment is so important. For starters, for the left and for the angry middle, this is intended to lay to rest doubts about whose side the Obama administration is on, Wall Street's or Main Street's. Elizabeth Warren's entire career has been about exalting Main Street's cause and standing up to Wall Street to do it. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau she will be starting up is her brainchild. She laid it out in an article for the journal Democracy in 2007, arguing, quote, "It is impossible to buy a toaster that has a 1 in 5 chance of bursting into flames and burning down your house. But it is possible to refinance an existing home with a mortgage that has the same 1 in 5 chance of putting the family out on the street. And the mortgage won't even carry a disclosure of that fact to the homeowner. Similarly, it's impossible to change the price on a toaster once it has been purchased. But long after the papers have been signed, it is possible to triple the price of the credit used to finance the purchase of that appliance, even if the customer meets all the credit terms in full and on time." And while it is all about policy and whether or not regular working people really do have a powerful ally in their government against the corporations that rip regular working people off, it's also about communicating that fact. And there is probably only one person in the country who can talk to individual American families about advocating for their own interests. Probably only one person in the country who does that better than the communicator in chief. And that person is Elizabeth Warren.
I want a 2-page credit card agreement in big print and plain words. I want something that will tell me what this is going to cost, and I don't want to have to wonder if somewhere in the fine print the interest rates can triple, or if the $29 fee here and the $49 fee there mean that my free card in fact costs me about $300 a year on average. I want a 2-page mortgage. Plain words. I want a car loan that doesn't have a hidden kickback to the dealer, like the average kickback now on a used car loan that runs between $1,000 and $3,800. Look, I expect to pay for what I get, but I don't expect to be tricked and trapped into paying what I didn't bargain for, because that's how contracts work and that's how markets work.
Listen, in political terms, liberals have been pushing for Elizabeth Warren's appointment, and liberals are excited about it now. But that is for a reason. Elizabeth Warren joins us now from Washington. She is the newly appointed assistant to the president and special advisor to the Secretary of the Treasury on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Professor Warren, congratulations. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
A year ago, I know that Congressman Barney Frank was among those who told you that a consumer protection agency like this was a pipe dream. It had no chance of becoming law. What happened between then and that moment today when you were standing in the Rose Garden charged with making this a reality?
What happened between then and now is a lot of American people said, you know, we've had enough of this. I've been out there, I've talked, but so have lots and lots and lots of other people. I appreciate the kind words, but this has been everywhere. This has been the small community groups. This has been the AFL out there working on this, the SEIU. All over America, a lot of groups said, this is an issue we care about, and we care about it because it affects us, it affects our neighbors, it affects our families. And they got behind it, and they're the ones who put the wind in the sails of this bill. And that's how we ended up in the Rose Garden today.
Does it worry you, does it weigh on you how much faith people have in you personally to be able to communicate Main Street concerns in a way that can compete with Wall Street concerns?
Of course it does. You know, all I can do is the best I can. But at the end of the day, what this is really about, it isn't about me. I mean, I will do my best. I will get out there. I will talk about this. But you've got to remember, the real power here is not at the top. This is lots of people who came together and said, enough of this. We're not going to do this anymore. You know, the reason Barney Frank said this is a pipe dream is he said the lobbyists always win. I mean, that's what happens in this town. I was told that over and over and over. All the money is on one side, and in my view, all the hurting was on the other side. I think that the consumer agency is about our trying to change that around and actually having some success doing it.
When you first proposed this consumer watchdog agency in 2007, you tied the exorbitant fees middle-class Americans are paying to their credit cards. You tied that to the health of the economy. It's a substantial amount of money, and it's money you explain that Americans are not spending on clothes and cars and groceries and stuff that stimulates the economy. Do you see the creation of the CFPB as important, not just in terms of fairness, but for the overall health of the economy?
Oh, absolutely, in multiple ways. So let's just talk about a couple. The first one is, you know, whatever's the right metaphor you want to use, when you think about families out there, their own boats, trying to make it, you know, trying to make it from here to there. What credit has become is a big hole in the bottom of the boat. The tricks, the traps, the ways that money is drained out. And what this agency has the capacity to do is to begin to patch that up so that families have more money. And when they have more money, they're more stable. They're likely to take on obligations that they're really going to be able to pay back. That's more money in their hands, more money for haircuts, more money to buy goods, more money to buy services, more money in the economy, and more stability. It also means that the idea of trading in those credit products, you know, those mortgages, we all are familiar with those, but there are others as well, that we're going to promise those grotesque profits. The idea of trading in those, creating the securitization that ultimately crashed this entire economy, we just take that one off the table. We say, find somebody else to play with. You can't do it with American families. You can't do it with the American economy. So this is really about safety for all of us.
You have created your own bully pulpit by virtue of your own communication skills, and that was true before you got this appointment. It now becomes more official, and I think a lot of people who have been fans of yours are heartened today to see you not only here, but on doing a lot of other media today, hoping that you'll become a much more public force and public face on this issue even than you have been already. I know that your priority must be this agency, protecting people from predation and the other types of reforms that you just described. But are there other policy agenda items that you think would make a huge difference in terms of how middle-class working families are going to be able to survive this recession?
Yes, ma'am. Do keep in mind, the president asked me to wear two hats, not just one. And you know how important this agency is to me and how much time and blood I'll pour into it. But at the same time, he has asked me to be an assistant to the president, to talk directly with him, to talk directly with his team about middle-class economic issues and to be part of their conversation on this. So I think the answer is I've got a foot in the door now, and I want to talk because I know these are important issues to the president, to the president's team, and I want to be in that room and see if I can be helpful on a range of issues.
Well, for a person who I feel like at the age of 37, my whole cohort, my whole life and all of my peers have been defined by debt and the new American relationship with debt. And you're the first person in public life right now who I feel like is talking about that in ways that make sense with my experience and with the experience of all my peers. So from that perspective, welcome, and we're all counting on you, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Elizabeth Warren, the newly appointed Assistant to the President and Special Advisor to the Secretary of the Treasury on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.